Welcome back to Baron's New Vegas Heavy Energy Weapon Guide, and today we are covering a weapon that has made the appearance in every Fallout game, even Brotherhood of Steel, and one that has captured imaginations even before the game. It stands out as one of the two weapons that fill this niche, but this one is simple to understand. Starting with the L30, then to the UB-Fried 3000, and finally to the unnamed and bulky Fallout 4 Gatling Laser. It is the simple modification of a Gatling gun firing lasers, which is a simple concept, but in Fallout it comes as one of the ultimate weapons. Before Fallout 3, the Heckler & Koch L30 was the ruling Gatling laser. Following the Heckler & Koch naming convention of essentially random numbers, the L30 is another precision energy weapon developed by the Germans and used en masse by the rest of the world. Nicknamed Sunbeam, and in the prototype stage, these weapons had multiple firing barrels that either contained all of the components of a laser tube, or only had the issue of overheating with the excitation chamber. It also featured an onboard battery that limited the amount of fire it could output before needing to be reloaded, or in this case recharged. It was capable of firing a huge volume of dangerous light at the enemy, but given its prototype nature, it was not lasting long in the wastes. Or the fact that these run off of microfusion packs and do quite a bit of damage per beam, it makes sense that they have been hoarded by the NCR and other factions. Now that brings us to the Gatling Laser of Fallout 3 and New Vegas, which definitely has the least amount of moving parts and only has a name from its concept art. The UB-Fried 3000 is a more reasonable Gatling laser, created with the knowledge of advanced laser technology built in real life, and still sticks to some understanding that the Fallout universe is advanced, but missing several key inventions that miniaturize technology in our lifetime. It is a mostly solid-state weapon, with little in the way of moving parts as said before. Instead of multiple rotating barrels like a traditional Gatling gun, the UB-Fried 3000 fires from one of its three barrels, one at a time. Technically, this means that the Gatling laser here is actually three separate laser tubes, and they fire as they can, since the firing arrangement is random. It is also possible that when they were brand new, they fired even faster, as they would have an order to their firing and not have to auctioneer their order like it is now. These weapons do use the same voltage, but probably less wattage, using electron charge packs, meaning it does less damage than the L30, but with a backpack-mounted power supply, allowing it to fire a lot more. Unlike the L30, it also doesn't need to spin up, firing when the trigger is pulled, and the use of solid-state parts means that it shouldn't break nearly as frequently, which shows as it has the single highest durability of ranged weapons in all of Fallout New Vegas. Sadly, in Fallout 4 and 76, a separate weapon was introduced that brought back a spinning motor with laser capacitors arranged like barrels. This is mostly a step backwards. It is a strange beast in of itself, but returns to the old form of the L30. And yet again, it uses a new ammo for its beams, in this case being a whole fusion cell. But back to the New Vegas version. The Gatling Laser is the lowest damage laser weapon, but fires at an incredible rate. At 30 beams per second and 10 damage per beam, it has a scary DPS of 300. It reloads in 3 seconds and can hold 240 shots worth of charge. This gives it a sustained DPS of 218.2, but 8 seconds of shooting is 2,400 damages worth. The low damage does mean that it struggles against the heavily armored foes, but it can receive quite a few damage buffs from perks and ammo choices. As for spread, it is bad for laser weapons at 0.6, but the visibility of its shots means that it can be easily used to find targets quickly. Its VATS performance is 30 AP for 12 shots, which is a super high efficiency of 4 damage per AP, beaten only by a few melee weapons and explosives. Sadly, for a laser weapon, its critical stat is minimal at only 0.02 times multiplier, but doing double damage at 10 extra damage, which will make it capable of punching through medium armor. As to be expected of a heavy weapon, there are no iron sights for this weapon, but you don't really need it with how well you can lead your shots. Now, as expected for a high-tech energy weapon, there are significant requirements to using it. For this weapon, its strength requirement is 8, and it needs an energy weapons of 100 to use effectively, meaning it is definitely an end-of-build weapon. Although a weight of 18 is not bad, all things considered, and the ammo is very light even in hardcore mode. Now, it is an expensive weapon, but it does come in less than a heavy incinerator. Although, it does have 2 mods, one which is worth taking and a second which does the same thing as a perk. For 6,800 caps, you get the base price, which is a fully fresh Gatling Laser. The mods for it are Focus Optics, which is a familiar mod for anyone who has modded a laser weapon. At 3,000 caps, it increases the damage by 30%, from 10 to 13, which is a sizable boost. It also visually changes the barrel section of the laser and increases the DPS to 390. The second mod is the Carbon Fiber Frame, which for only 2,200 caps, all it does is cut the weight in half to 9. Something which the heavyweight perk also does. For most people, this mod is superfluous, as heavyweight is available far sooner than a Gatling laser and affects all of the other heavy energy weapons and other weapons in general. Although this is the only weapon with an official weapon mod that drops it below the threshold for heavyweight. So for 9,800 caps, you get a fully automatic laser pistol, and for 12,000 caps, you'll have the same thing, but will have probably wasted money. Now, modding the Gatling Laser, at least for damage, is a good idea, as it does have exceptional durability at 7,495 shots, which is only 32 reloads from empty, but that is a lot of pain. At 8,819 bulk rounds, 4,995 overcharge, and 2,995 max charge rounds mean that this weapon is perfect for those that have those dangerous cells. Now, shooting electron charge packs, this weapon is also relatively cheap to feed. Standard ECP, the cheapest of the energy ammo if you recall, only costs 1 cap per round and still gives you the -2 DT you expect from energy ammo. Now, overcharge ammo costs 2 caps per round and can be made for 3 standard rounds for 2 overcharge. This is also one of the few money-making schemes with just ammo, especially from the Red Rock armor, and with the cheap cost of this ammo is the most efficient. The overcharge ECP does 25% more damage and reduces enemy DT by 5. This does come at the cost of wearing the gun down 50% faster, but with such a high health, it's pretty alright. Now, the max charge ammo costs 2 caps per round as well, but takes 5 standard for 2 max charge ammo, and so it's always better just to buy this ammo. This increases damage by 50% and reduces enemy DT by 10, which makes it quite capable of killing next to anything. With the high durability of the Gatling Laser, this is the type of ammo it needs to be fed in the late game. Now, bulk ammo is the last type, and costs 50 for a box of 100. This is very cheap, but it is the usual 85% damage and wear rate. Now, much like the other energy weapons, siding with the Legion or Brotherhood of Steel can net you quite a lot of free ammo, although with the ECP it's less than the small energy cells by far. The Brotherhood does also give you access to the gun, and Legion only gives you access to a lot of ammo. On that note, where can the Gatling Laser be found? Obviously, the Brotherhood can carry them, and during Veronica's quest, 3 can be fought with no reputation loss, and 1 might have a Gatling Laser. Otherwise, it can be found in the Brotherhood of Steel safe house, in nearly broken condition, but Knight Torres sells one in her expanded inventory, just like Gloria might carry one if you're a high enough level. Once you're over level 40, there are some to be found in the DLCs on enemies, but that's a long way off. The Gatling Laser and Vengeance, from Fallout 3 in particular, were my favorite weapons for a long time. The sound and fire rate was something to marvel at, but Point Lookout changed my mind on that one, along with other things. Either way, the Gatling Laser is a great weapon that once combined with max charge ammo, The Laser Commander and rank 4 of the Camaraderie perk becomes a terrible thing to lay upon the wastes. But without that, you might find that Deathclaws need more than a pretty light to be put down.